what kind of services do you offer? And I'd love to if you could bring in your element of holistic care. So you're a big believer in holistic care.
Yes.
And I always see you making these beautiful baskets of tea. And so could you use this opportunity to kind of talk about like, what do you offer?
Yeah.
And why do you think that your approach of holistic care is important?
Yeah, absolutely. So every doula is going to offer something different in their package.
Okay.
But for me personally, I do 2 prenatal visits, and I love the prenatal visits because it's a chance for me to get to know the mom and the dad and build a relationship with them. And at the first prenatal visit, we go over third trimester nutrition, things that they can be prioritizing and putting in their body to help reduce medical risks in the birth. So hemorrhaging and things like that. They can prioritize protein. And then one of my favorite things that I always recommend to every single mama out there is called Nora tea. If you follow me on Instagram, you see it all the time. It stands for nettle, oat straw, red raspberry leaf, and alfalfa. And this blend of herbs is like a woman's best friend. It's so good for our hormones, whether you're pregnant or not. So good for your hormones. So good for a mother, especially in the second and third trimester. It tones the uterus and it gives her lots of minerals and vitamins needed for that third trimester of growing that baby. And so I always recommend that. We go over her birth preferences so that I know how to best advocate for them. We go over comfort measures, and I make sure that the dad feels, if he wants to be involved, fully equipped to do comfort measures on the mom, because I believe that the dad plays such a pivotal role in the birth. And if they're involved in supporting the mom, that carries into fatherhood as well, in supporting the mom in motherhood. And so I always want to give dads that opportunity to love and support their wives. And then I also go over things to prioritize in early labor, active labor, and then transition and pushing. And then at my second prenatal, we go over things like spinning babies, which is just an incredible, it's kind of like how movements and different positions can literally make space for baby to descend. And it can help alleviate things like having to use Pitocin or even having to do a C-section, where it's like, okay, let's try movement before going to these extreme interventions, and maybe trying these different movements to get baby to, maybe baby's caught on like a certain part of the pelvic floor or on this certain, sacral bone. Let's try these movements that would get baby to move and descend and create space so that baby can come out.
There was like a conference that you went to about this, right?
I've gone to a Spinning Babies workshop, and that is the most equipped I've ever felt as a doula is after that Spinning Babies workshop. Like, I took all these classes and courses when I was first wanting to become a doula, and I was still like, I have no idea what I'm doing. After the Spinning Babies workshop, I'm like, give me a birth right now. And then I obviously also go over things like, what to expect in postpartum, because that's another thing we always plan for the birth. All right, let's plan for the birth, and moms don't realize that postpartum is actually what lasts way longer. Birth is anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Postpartum is months. And so I make sure that I don't try to scare them, but I make sure that they understand the reality of postpartum, how to heal, how to emotionally gauge whether they're doing okay, and if they're not, how to seek out help. So that's what I do at my second prenatal. And then the next part of my package is obviously supporting them before, during, and after the birth. And that looks like a whole host of things. And then I obviously have a postpartum visit. I just had one today, which was so special. And I love postpartum visits because I get to see the baby, and I just get to check in on the mom and see how she's doing emotionally, seeing how the dad's doing emotionally. We all get to process the birth together, because honestly, a lot of times what happens is when a mom goes into labor, it's called labor land, where they almost forget everything that happens because they're just in this birth bubble. And so by being able to process the birth with them, they can ask me questions, and I can say, oh yeah, at this point the nurse did this, and they're like, they did that? And I'm like, yeah. And they're able to, like, I'm kind of able to puzzle piece their birth back together so that they feel like they know what happened. And
giving them their story.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I, as a doula, love to do birth photography and videography.
I was just going to bring that up. That's been an amazing thing to witness, because you've been doing such an incredible job. Thank
you. Coming from a videographer herself, I'm very honored. It's literally just on my iPhone, and then I edit the photos in Lightroom. But I love to have moms have that that commemoration of their birth, right? Because you're never going to get that birth back. And so to have those memories in video form, in picture form is so powerful. And I edit a birth video, and I always ask them, if they're a Christian, like, what's your favorite worship song? And I make that the background. And I always tell them your birth video is going to be G-rated. I do pride myself on having zero nudity in the birth video so that you can show friends and family or post it if you want.
Or like your kids someday, like this could be something that you could watch and maybe not be super cringe over or embarrassed. Like,
exactly. And so that's another thing that I cherish, and I love to have that for the mom and dad and offer that. Obviously, holistically, like I always tell all of my moms, like, I am just a phone call away. So if there is literally any, you're feeling a symptom, or you have a nutritional question or an herbal question or anything, just text me. And there's so much about holistic wellness that I'm obviously passionate about, and how it ties in so flawlessly to pregnancy and birth, because the more that we nourish our bodies, we're creating a healthier home for our babies, right? And it tends to have better birth outcomes and better postpartum outcomes when we have fully nourished our bodies. And honestly, in my opinion, nourishing our bodies spiritually, emotionally, and physically.